We already know how to calculate measures of position for ungroup and group data. This time, we are going to interpret measures of position that we already solved. Let us think about this situation. The science teacher of Christina returned the summative test paper of the students in Group A, of which there are 12 students in the group. Out of 48 items in the multiple choice test, the following are their scores. We have 35, 41, 39, 45, 43, 35, 41, 42, 37, 37, 45, and 40. Now, we are asked to find the value of the fourth decile using the linear interpolation. Sa last lesson natin about solving the measures of position for ungrouped data, nag-solve na tayo ng quartiles using linear interpolation. And this time, magsusolve tayo ng decile using linear interpolation. Yung process niya is the same pa din. Una, you need to arrange your data from smallest to greatest or into ascending order. Tapos, alamin mo kung ilan lahat yung students or yung scores na kailangan mong isolve. It means that is n is equal to 12. And then, recall tayo dun sa formula sa pag-solve ng decile, which is d sub k is equal to k over 10 times n plus 1. Wherein yung k, yun yung value ng decile o yun yung pang-ilang decile ang kailangan nating isolve. And of course, yung n natin is kung ilan lahat yung scores or data na kailangan nating isolve. So, since decile 4 ang kailangan natin, ang value ng k is equal to 4. So, we have 4 over 10 times 12 plus 1. 12 plus 1 is 13. And 13 times 4 is equal to 52. Then, 52 divided by 10 is equal to 5.2. So, yung 5.2 na to, this is only the position. Pero kailangan natin mag-linear interpolation. So, it means kailangan nating hanapin yung pang 5th at saka pang 6th data. Kasi meron tayong decimal. So, it means yung value ng pang 5th item natin is 39 at ang pang 6th item natin is 40. Next step, kailangan natin i-subtract ang 5th at ang 6th item. So, we have 40 minus 39 is equal to 1. Tapos, yung difference na nasolve natin, yun ang i-multiply natin sa decimal part ng ating decile position. So, that is 1 times 0.2. And then, 1 times 0.2 is 0.2. Tapos, add natin sa pang 5th item, which is 39. And 39 plus 0.2 is 39.2. It means, ang 4th decile natin is 39.2. Then, Christina received her summative test paper with the reflected score of 40 out of 48. Now, ang question is, pasok ba si Christina sa ating 4th decile? Remember, ang 4th decile na na-solve natin is 39.2. And Christina's score is greater than 39.2. It means, yung score ni Christina is greater than 4th decile. But after receiving the test paper, her teacher asked her if she wants to know how many % of the class have scores less than or equal to her score. And how many % have score greater than her. So, interested si Christina dun sa question ni teacher. So, she thought of a friend who can help her with it. As a Christina's friend, how can you help her? Of course, pwede natin siyang tulungan. Now, i-practice natin kung paano mag-interpret ng mga measures of position para matulungan natin si Christina. Let's have this one. What is meant by the following measures of position below? Let us study the examples given. Number 1 example, in a set of scores, the 15th percentile or piece of 15 is equal to 63. What does it mean? It means or this means that in the set of scores given, 15% of the scores is less than or equal to the score of 63. Kasi nga P sub 15. Nasa bandang left side po siya ng ating distribution. And of course, on the other hand, kung 15 ang nasa left side, nasa right side naman is 85. So, paano na-solve yung 85? Laging 100% yun, yung buong data natin. Then, subtract natin yung 15. So, 100 minus 15, that is equal to 85. It means 85 of the score is greater than the score of 63. Example number 2. In a set of scores, the third decile or d sub 3 is equal to 8. So what does it mean? This means that in the set of scores given, 30% of the score is equal to or below the score of 8. Because yung third decile natin is equal to 30th percentile. Kasi pag decile, divided into 10 equal parts. So, kapag decile 1, that is 10 percentile. Pag decile 2, 20th percentile. At pag decile 3 ay 30th percentile. And so on. On the other hand, it is also means that 70% of the scores is above the score of 8. So, saan nakuha yung 70% ulit? Yung 30% isusubtract natin from 100%. That's why yung remaining is 70%. Bago tayo mag-proceed sa mga marami pang examples, these are the things that we need to remember in interpreting measures of position. Una, the measures of position or quantiles. Again, yung measures of position can be also called as quantiles. Or these are the quartiles, deciles, and percentiles are the values that refer to the position of a specific score, object, or item in a set of data after arranging them from the least to greatest. So, do not forget yung pinakaunang step natin sa pag-solve ng ating measures of position or quantiles is to arrange the data from least to greatest. Second thing to remember. Quartiles, deciles, and percentiles are having relationships. So, yung first quartile natin or Q sub 1, that is the same with 2.5 decile. Or, yung 2.5 decile natin, that is the same with 25th percentile or P sub 25. Tapos, yung 25th percentile is the same also with quartile 1. So, pwede tayo mag-convert. Another, yung third quartile natin or quartile 3, is equal to 7.5 decile or yung 7.5 decile natin is the same with 75th percentile or P sub 75 or yung P sub 75 natin is the same with our third quartile. And last, yung second quartile natin or quartile 2 is the same with 5th decile at saka yung 5th decile natin is the same with 50th percentile or yung P sub 50 or yung tinatawag nating median. So, as you can see, pwede tayo mag-convert from quartile to percentile, percentile to decile, decile to quartile, and vice versa. Third thing to remember, given a particular score, object, or item in a dataset, be extra careful and critical enough as to what measure or quantile you need to consider. Kung kailangan mag-convert para mas mabilis mag-interpret, dapat mag-convert. And another, remember that every score, object, or item in a data set has its unique position in the set. So, be careful in your solution or in your solving. Let's have another situational example. The third quartile or quartile 3 of the ages of the 506 grade 10 students of a certain barangay high school is 16 years old. What does it mean? Since the third quartile is equal to 75th percentile, therefore, it means that 75th of the entire grade 10 students of a certain barangay high school has the age that is less than or equal to 16 years old. So, yun po yung ibig sabihin niya. But specifically, In other words, there are 379 grade 10 students that are aging 16 years old and below. So, paano nakuha yung 379? So, para ma-solve yung 379, i-convert natin sa decimal yung 75%, which is 0.75. Magmo-move ka lang ng 2 decimal places papunta ka sa kaliwa. So, you have 0.75 multiplied by 506. That is approximately equal to 379. So, may decimal point yan. Hindi na lang tayo nag-round off. It means 379 students is equal to 75% of 506 students. And it is also means that 25% or 127 of the grade 10 students have ages above 16 years old. Remember yung kanina, kapag 75%, yung other way niya, isubtract mo yung 75 from 100% to get the 25%. Yun naman yung nasa right side ng data natin. And 25% of 506 is 127. Or, pwede mo din isubtract yung 379 from 506 para makuha yung 127. Let's have example situation number 2. A certain government examination composed of 100 items has a passing score which is the 75th percentile. What does it imply? So, pag sinabing government examinations, it means ito yung mga board exams. Ito yung LET, ito yung mga civil service examinations, ito yung mga nag-test para makakuha ng mga lisensya. So, sabi, 75th percentile, dapat ang iyong score para makapasa. And if your test is composed of 100 item test, what does it imply? So, it implies that an examinee must answer at least 75 items correctly in order for him to pass the test. Pag sinabi nating at least, it means 75 pataas. So, kapag ang score mo is 75 pataas, pasado ka sa exam. Bakit 75? Kasi 100 item test yung iti-test mo. So, yung 75th percentile ng 100 item test is equal to 75 items. I-multiply mo lang yung 0.75 sa 100 items. Example situation number 3. The scores of James in English in their second periodical examination is the 9th decile or decile 9. If the passing score is the upper quartile or quartile 3, did he pass the test? And this situation, i-assume natin na yung value ng decile 9 is different sa value ng quartile 3. So, para makapag-decide, i-check natin kung which one is greater dito sa decile 9 tsaka quartile 3. Since yung decile 9 natin is equal to percentile 90 and yung quartile 3 natin is equal to percentile 75, nag-convert lang tayo. So, it means magkaiba yung value or inassume natin na magkaiba yung value. So, it means si James ay pasado sa examination kasi nga yung decile 9 which is yung score ni James is greater than quartile 3 or yung ating qualifying score. So, it means pasado si James sa kanyang English test. Let's have example number 4. Teacher Jen is getting the height of her 28 students in grade 10 special science class for computing body mass index or yung BMI. She noticed that each of the values of the height of her students is unique. So, ibig sabihin, magkakaiba yung height nila, walang magka-height. She told one of her students, which is Michelle, that her height is the 30th percentile. How many students are shorter than her? How many students are taller than her? So, i-compute po natin. Since Michelle's height is the 30th percentile, it means that 30% of the students or of 28 students have the height that is less than or equal to the height of Michelle. So, para makuha yung 30% of 28, i-multiply natin yung 28 sa 0.3. Ito yung decimal form ng 30%. Just move 2 decimal places to the left. And 28 times 0.30 is equal to 8.4. I-round off na lang natin siya. That is becomes 8. So, it means, or therefore, there are 7 students that are shorter than Michelle. Hindi na natin isasama si Michelle. Si Michelle kasi ang pang-8 student. And there are 20 students that are taller than her since none of them have equal height. Kasi nga magkakaiba yung height nila. So, ganun lang po siya kasimple. Next situation, example number 5. The mayor of a certain city is offering a college scholarship to deserving students. A student can get the scholarship if he or she can pass the qualifying examination with a score that is in the top 40% of the scores of all examinees. And we have here 3 incoming college students, which are Gregory, Melissa, and Frank, took the qualifying examination, and their scores have the percentile ranks of 26, 48, and 54 respectively. Ibig sabihin ng respectively, kung sino yung unang nabanggit, yun yung kanyang corresponding score. It means si Gregory, ang score niya is 26, si Melissa naman is 48, at si Frank ay 54. Ang question is, will the 3 of them get the scholarship? So, ang answer natin, based dun sa qualifying score at saka sa percentile rank ng 3 students, hindi lahat sila makakapasok sa scholarship. So, only Melissa and Frank will get the scholarship because their scores belong to the top 40% of the scores of all examinees. Remember, yung percentile rank ni Melissa is 48. Si Frank naman is 54. But Gregory cannot get the scholarship because his score does not belong to the top 40% of the scores of all examinees. Ang percentile rank lang ni Gregory is 26, which is below the top 40%. So it means better luck next time, Gregory, and congrats to Melissa and Frank.